Greetings and salutations, YouTube. So we are doing a follow-up video. If you remember, last week we had... Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
We had two motherboards. One of them we were removing.
Oh.
And this is the follow-up. This is the new home for the motherboard that we removed from the old case. And I'm here with Neil's snoring dog and Neil himself. There he is.
Put my snoring dog on.
There's a snoring dog.
Let's go.
Raffy, wake up! There you go. Dogs. Okay, good. I got the dog in. We're good. Alright, dog video.
Shh.
Alright, so we are going to get started on this. But basically, we are removing this motherboard and replacing it with this one, which you guys saw last week.
Yes, however...
Yes?
Well, you know what? Why don't you turn off the camera, because I got something to say to you that you're going to hate.
Ah, delightful. We'll be right back.
I don't know that I'll be right back, but you will be.
Okay.
All right. Regarding the closed system cooling we did last week. Regarding the closed system cooling we did last week. Regarding the closed system cooling we did last week. Hey, about that closed system we built last week. Did a little research into it. The choice we made of putting the fan... Okay, here's a primary case for that kind of shit. Turn around. Does that case have anything on the front? I mean on the back? An exit thing on the back?
No
right?
grommet holes. No grommet holes.
Yeah, okay, here we go. So here's the perfect example of a case that you could use a internal mount of that fan that we put on, of that radiator that we put on. So the fan would go on this side, the radiator would go on this side. You'd only do that. Ideally, what we did last week was right. Ideally. Because you always want to have your radiator facing on the outside. You want it at the coolest area. So if you take the radiator and put it on the inside of the case, you're going to have more heat surrounding it. So you want to avoid that. But if you're stuck like this, and this won't work at all, honestly, because we had I'd like to say 120 centimeter fan, 120 millimeter fan last week, so this is only a good 80 millimeter fan. There's absolutely no way this case would have supported that cooling unit. So in this way, give up. And on this one, give up. Don't bother unless you want to start actually using a Dremel and cutting it open. You really don't want to start doing that.
And even then, you'd need to also Dremel the holes for the screws, and it's just, you know.
Well, that's the thing. You can... Now, here's the thing. If you're already skilled enough with a Dremel that it doesn't bother you to drill two hose holes down here, go right ahead. But if you're a little squeamish about cutting open your case because you just paid upwards of $200 on some of these cases that are really incredible, chances are if you pay $200 on your case, you won't need to screw anything. But if by chance you do need to screw holes or anything, the alternative to that is to mount it on the inside. And you'd want to have your air flowing from the case out, and that'll do it. But if you have the holes mounted on the outside, but it will add a significant amount of inches, so that kind of sucks. You'll have about 4 inches off the back of your machine, and where I'm keeping my machine, I can't do that. There's literally no space to push it back. So next week I'm going to be downgrading. Yes, I know. I'm going to be downgrading to water cooling.
No, from water cooling.
From water cooling to air cooling.
Liquid cooling, but yeah. Yeah, it's, you know. But that's why you got these.
Well, no. Actually, we're going to be... Well, I was going to talk about that next week, but I did buy these originally, and this is a very nice cooler. The design of it is very cool. Let me...
Yep.
Yeah. The design of this is very nice. It's actually... It's got a heat sink, and then the heat pipes are... Actually, you know what? Why are we talking about this like I'm not going to be opening this box in a few seconds anyway? So, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, a box.
A box of biscuits, a box of mixed biscuits, and a biscuit mixer.
Alright, first thing I bought this CPU cooler because, well, this is an Intel 775.
Yeah, it looks stock.
Yeah, that's stock.
Yeah.
This, I bought it because this actually latches on to the AMD cooler. Actually, the riser that you attach the cooler to. It's their design, and it works with their design, so you don't have to unscrew and put in a back plate. See? Remember how last week we had the cutout? Here we don't have that cutout.
No cutout here.
So, I was right. You will have to unscrew your motherboard at times to install some of these aftermarket nightmares. Now, truthfully, is there any reason to put these in if you're going...
Thermal paste is already on there, by the way.
Yeah.
I just saw.
Yeah, actually. Well, the box is very nice and tight, so when I pulled it out, I pulled out the shield for the thermal paste. So, that's one strike for Gilead. Jelly? Gelid. There is no way you can silence that dog. Don't try. Alrighty, here's the deal. So, right now it's in the Intel configuration, obviously. Is it? Yeah. But then, ooh. Watch me as I freak out because they didn't put in the clips. Alrighty. No, they put in the clips, but I'm not sure where the axis is. Well, I'll figure that out eventually. Anywho, so, this is the heatsink with 4 heat pipes. And the innovation of it is, instead of having it vertical or anything else, it actually blows... The heat pipes go to a radiator, and the radiator blows off the heat. I read it. It's a pretty decent design, they say. And I like the reviews on it, so I bought it. This is 4 heat pipes. The heat pipes are good. Of course, they'll whisk away the heat pretty decently. That's about it. The only thing is, I'm wondering if this design, this flipped up design, I'm wondering if it's any better than a vertical mount with a horizontal fan. I really don't know. But next week, I hope to bring you a Noctua. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's kind of like a different country anyway, so
Very nice.
we'll get away with that. It's a fan. It's one of the more expensive fans they make. Actually, Cyberguys just started carrying it. It's a very good silent CPU fan, and we're going to be putting that on instead of a water cooling block.
So we're going to replace the closed system liquid cooling that we installed last week with this Noctua. And for right here and now, we're going to be replacing this stock cooler.
No, we're going to be replacing this whole motherboard.
Okay, but also at the same time, we're going to be using this on the CPU.
Instead of AMD's stock. Now, I'm not overclocking, so I leave it up to anyone to argue the merits of actually using this. Because we're not I'm not overclocking, and I don't know, truthfully, if an aftermarket cooler is really warranted. However, they do give you better cooling over stock. So, with that in mind, we're going to do it.
Alright.
Okay.
So that's the plan for next week. For right now, we're going to rip this out, and we're going to take it step at a time.
Yep.
Okay, we're back. We are making a little bit of progress. In ripping out the guts of this case, I replaced this fan. The motherboard, you can see it's over there. And here's the case that you saw last time. One of the questions that was asked in the comments was, why do you install RAM in the motherboard after it's put into the case? Why don't you install RAM when it's out of the case? Neil, you had a good response to that. Go.
Well, actually, I got a few responses on that one. One of them is for the simple fact of the rigidity. Did he come back?
Yes, he came back.
Rafi does not like being put out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So yes, rigidity.
One of the simple. It's just the motherboard has a certain pliability. Not a lot, and you definitely don't want to play with it. But you will, if you push down hard enough, you can snap it. And what happens is that
the amount of force it takes to insert a RAM into a DIMM slot
is not great, but significant. And plus, if you see, when you make a chip, modern chips actually, old ones didn't do this. There are multiple layers throughout this motherboard, just as in this CPU there are multiple layers. So you can snap things on the inner layer, not know anything about it, and your motherboard's crap, and you're spending, day after day figuring, why is my computer bombing? Well, you screwed it up. The second reason for this, installing it in the case, is simple grounding. Very simple grounding. You just want to make sure that you don't pass any electricity from you to your RAM and blow the RAM while you're installing it. And this sounds like a lot of crazy crap, but I gotta tell you, if you're in a carpeted room and it's the winter and it's dry out, you will be sparking. And in fact, if you notice that when you touch anything in a room, you spark, that, it feels like a shock, then you have static electricity and you should be getting rid of that before you install your RAM. So that's the answer to that question. Any others? Let me know.
Yes, questions and comments are always welcome. Except for that one guy who
we
decided...
don't have to talk about that question.
Yeah, that one guy.
We do have something to say about that. If you have anything to say about people that's negative, just remember that they see you too.
Yeah.
And, I'm here, you're not. And if you ever wanted to say hi to me, I'd be happy to meet you. And, I could explain to you why I am the way I am. And you could explain to me why you are the way you are.
All right. There you go. High road taken, and at the same time, comment responded to politely. And the build continues.